Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to DOdaily. It's Des here, who's ready for Thursday Thoughts, the live episode where I look to answer your questions the best way I can, try to be honest and relatable, and pass on a little bit of information that just might prove useful, and that's all I try to be. Nothing too technical, nothing too scientific, whilst I'm learning all the time about all the things I do, whether it's the running side of things or the mental health or the personal development, or all sorts of things. It's important to just pass this information across in a way that's easy to digest, easy to understand. Nothing too heavy, just light-hearted bits of information. I'll just start by saying thank you to everybody who's sent me questions. Really appreciate that again. Of course, it's really important on a Thursday. It's actually my second live episode in 2 days. If you've not had a chance to see it, please do check back on Wednesday workout yesterday. Really enjoyed getting some of the Do Running guys involved to pass on the message of how much we're looking forward to the return of group activity next Wednesday. Something we've not done as a whole group in the last 14 months. What we do in terms of activity here in Nottingham is sort of centered around a base and a social element. So it's important for us it was important to wait until we could have that to take it forward. So it's really exciting that's coming. Of course, all the virtual offerings will remain in place. They're important as well. I've lost no enthusiasm to keep delivering those, to keep inviting people into what we do. And that's all it's about, really. Just spreading the word, encouraging activity, spreading the word about DOdaily, helping people who just might be feeling the pinch, And whilst that's probably happened a little bit more during lockdown, people feel it all the time, don't they? COVID sort of came along, brought its own issues, but we all suffer from time to time. We all suffer with our mental health, I say it every single week. Life's a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it? And we weren't born to be happy all the time. We weren't born to be sad all the time. When you understand that, which is something I've learned a lot over the last 14 months, a lot of things change. You start to sort of accept situations and sort of become a bit more in tune with where you are and what you can do to put it right. And that's all I've been looking to do over that time. And of course, encourage different things throughout the week to help. Thursday is just one of them after trying to encourage activity for Monday with the Monday motivation, and on Tuesday and Wednesday through challenges and the solidarity session. It's probably time to take a step back and look at some of the things we can do away from the activity to help us as well. And that's kind of how I try and balance it up. I was trying to justify it a little bit, I guess, not that I have to. And then tomorrow we get back to it with the wake up to walk session, something I love. Really sort of looking forward to taking that time this week because I've been really busy. I've mentioned it quite a lot, but the reality is I have been really busy, and it's important all the time. I mentioned it on Tuesday about thinking, I might not do this, I might do that. It's important to keep going, isn't it? Because it's when you sort of let things drop off when you're busy that it starts building up even more. And a good mood can turn into a frustrated mood, and a frustrated mood can turn into a bad mood. And before we know it, we can be in a bit of a slump, can't we? But I'm feeling absolutely fantastic, just flying off the thought of getting these groups back up and running. It's been a real passion of mine over the last 4 years. It's 4 years now since we first did it, and it almost feels like the first time again. I remember, thanks to the South Bank bar locally, I was able to run a group from just a couple of yards from where we're based now, and it was really, really sort of uplifting on the first night. 40 people turned up. I didn't know whether it'd been me and the bar manager going out for a run, and it ended up being 40 people on that first night. And when you turn up, somebody once said to me, if you're prepared to do these things, be prepared to go and stand there in the cold and in the wet. When you're prepared to do that, and put yourself out, when people do turn up, when people show a bit of faith in what you're doing, it's absolutely fantastic, and it's absolutely like I say, uplifting and rewarding. So I'm looking forward to that. That's keeping me going. But like I say, just got to be mindful of all the other things that need doing, whilst it's something to look forward to next week, something to really get a teeth stuck into. It's important for me to keep doing the things I do, keep sort of delivering the content through DOdaily, keep getting my free time when I take it. I'm actually going to get away again for a couple of days. Really lucky that Kay's parents have got a caravan, so we get the chance to get away a little bit. So that's really something to look forward to as well. Hopefully the weather's a little bit nicer this time, because last time I was really looking forward to doing DOdaily at the seafront. Didn't quite pan out because it was absolutely torrential for most of the time. But seems to have picked up a little bit, although it's a little bit miserable today, but not to worry. All those things and trying to sort of remember what's important, remember what's coming, remember what's gone, remember what I need to do. Just keep me in a steady frame of mind to keep attacking the things I do. Just been out for a walk, got the opportunity to listen to one or two things that I always listen to. I take something from, and that makes me feel great itself, because if I'm not doing that, if I'm not learning, if I'm not reading, if I'm just busy ploughing through it, I kind of lose a bit of that sort of edge off what I'm doing. I feel like I'm not prepared, and I start struggling a little bit to almost get my words out. I've spoken a lot in the last few days about going for a walk last Friday with some friends, and then how good I felt and how much better I felt I could communicate after just being around people first thing in the morning all of a sudden. And I think that's something that happens to us a lot, isn't it? I've referred to it in the sense of when we're not feeling fantastic, we tend to lose our social skills a little bit, and we withdraw ourselves, and sort of either way isolate ourselves. And then when we come back into a social situation, we tend to really struggle, don't we? We might get into a needless sort of debate, or take somebody the wrong way, or they might take us the wrong way. So being around people is really important. Listening, learning, doing whatever you can. And again, that's just another reason to do this on a Thursday. But as ever, got some really good stuff to go at. Really looking forward to getting stuck into them. Thanks again. Of course, I'm always grateful for the input, so I'll crack on with those. Question 1 comes from Kay. She was just asking the question before she's gone out. She's actually gone for a walk. She's gone to listen to DOdaily, so she's dual purposing, like I always encourage. If that's the way you listen to it, absolutely fantastic. But she asked me a question before she left, and I said, stick it on the questions, and I'll answer it this way. What are your thoughts on the impact of the Indian variant? On the impact the Indian variant might have on June the 23rd rule change. To be honest, all the way through this, I've been a little bit sort of not ignorant to the fact, definitely not. I think I was one of the first to pick it up, having been ill, having sort of been at home quite a lot, listening to the news when COVID come about. I understood its importance. But I also think now, and for the last couple of months, that we've got to keep pushing on through it. This can't take over forever. It's really difficult to sort of know what's for the best, and know, as somebody who's not in the know, how these things are going to affect things. But I think the words that are coming out of the government, there's a lot of positivity. There seems to be a little bit of attention put on those who've not been vaccinated, and encouraging those to do it, because it seems to be in communities where the vaccination numbers are a little bit down, that this tends to be affecting all the age groups. So it's important for those to get vaccinated. I've mentioned quite a lot on DOdaily. I was really lucky doing some work for the NHS to be one of the first to get my first vaccination, and of course the second. So I've been fully dosed for a couple of months now. But I think it's just important for people to keep doing that, isn't it? And if they do, if the numbers don't rise dramatically, But regardless, we've got to find a way to live with it. We've got to find a way to deal with it like we do with flu, and other illnesses. It's important to sort of keep pushing forward. I feel like we're at a point that we can't take any steps backwards, because if we do, it's going to affect so much again. One, for talking about mental health, aren't I? So it's going to affect people again. Every time those press conferences at 5 o'clock when we were getting knocked back, when lockdowns were getting extended, there was sort of deflating everybody, flattening everybody's spirits, when really we just wanted good news. So even if you was in a positive frame of mind, I'd like to think I have been throughout, it still knocks you for six. You still sort of, and the world comes tumbling down around you. So I can only imagine what it's been like for people who've probably not dealt with it quite so well and really struggling right now. So I just think we've got to find a way to keep striving forward, and avoid these lockdowns where possible. I personally would urge absolutely everybody to get the vaccine. At the end of the day, if you are sceptical, what harm can it do? The reality is, what harm can it do? Believe me, they're not putting a microchip in your arm. You're not connected up to 5G or Bill Gates, because you would know. You would simply know about it. So just get the vaccine, help everybody. I think, I had a conversation on the radio, and I think it was about comments made by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who said people who hadn't taken the vaccine are a little bit selfish. And I tend to agree with that, because we're not just protecting ourselves, are we? We're protecting the spread of the virus, and that's what's really important, because we could be passing it on all the time. Even with the vaccine, we don't know how much this is circulating, but we know it possibly becomes less transmittable if we've had this, and we can fight it a lot better. So hopefully on the 21st, when the full sort of rule change comes, so we're out of lockdown, I want to get back to life as quick as I can. Whilst I will wear a mask, whilst I've got no issues wearing a mask or abiding by the rules right now, I don't really want to. Nobody really wants to, do they? We want to get on with things and really enjoy it. I've already spoke about the fact we're meeting as a group, but there'll be COVID measures in place, which we're going to have to adhere to, and again, it just sort of puts that little bit of a barrier there that it just takes, I won't say it's going to take the gloss off it, because hopefully the overriding feeling will be of great spirit and sort of togetherness. But, we all would just rather it not be there. We'd have rather it not happened at the end of the day. But it has, so we have to just learn to live with it the best we can. Thanks for that question, Kay. Really, what I will say about COVID, I try not to talk about it, but it is something that's happened, isn't it? It's something we've got to live with. When I touched on the fact we can ignore, I touched on this the other day, we can ignore negative things, negative connotations, or things that don't sort of bode well for us in everyday life. But until we address them, we're not going to move forward, are we? Until we accept certain things. And this is all part of where I feel I've come in the last 14 months, in accepting that sometimes I'm going to feel rubbish, sometimes I'm going to feel fantastic. And it's just about balancing it off without taking anything off when I feel great. I just understand that I've got to do certain things to stay there. And that when I'm not feeling great, it's almost like, well, you will get back there. So if you accept these things a lot quicker, I feel we move forward a lot quicker. Thanks for the question again. Question 2. Thanks for this, Mark. Has not being able to run because of your injury had an impact on your mental health? I think I've touched on this sort of throughout. Whilst right now I've got lots to keep me preoccupied, lots to keep me focused and really sort of looking forward, all those things I've spoke about already so many times, it definitely does have an impact. It definitely sort of, it frustrates me for a start, when I think about the times I should be running, when I look at what other people are doing, not in terms of jealous what they're doing, but the fact that I just want to be inspired and motivated to do it. Sometimes I am, and I want to put my trainers on and go out there. And I've been walking every day, and bizarrely, my hamstring injury is getting a little bit sore. And when I have been feeling tired, that's when it affects me. And it's that thing, isn't it? It's that sort of snowball effect of what happens by sort of not doing what you're supposed to, then feeling tired, then not having not done that, then perhaps not been out for a run, and it's everything together. And that's when I start beating myself up about it, and I start getting stressed. I've got big events planned for later in the year, and it's really difficult at times to sort of manage all that and sort of say, yeah, I'm perfectly fine with it, because the reality is I'm not perfectly fine with it. I'm brave enough to sit here and say, my mental health is not perfect right now. I know little things are niggling away at me when they shouldn't, because I can't go out for a run. When I go out for a run, most things just don't even matter anymore, because when I'm out there, I get a chance to think things through. I get a chance to realise that that's probably the most important thing to me, in terms of my activity and why I do what I do, is to try and keep myself going, to try and put myself in a position where I can help and support others. And when that happens, I feel absolutely fantastic about doing it. So yeah, it definitely does have an impact, but there's lots of things I can do. Like I say, I still get out for a walk, keeping myself busy, got all this DOdaily content to put out, got all the sorry, my battery's going. Yeah, I got all this DOdaily content to put out, and also sort of everything I want to do in terms of all those groups and all those sessions. It requires a lot of sort of involvement, and that's what it does. It keeps me involved. Whilst I'm the one kind of pushing it and leading it, it makes me feel still part of it, and when people get something from it, I get something from it. And that's something I mention a lot, isn't it? When you're doing something for other people, sometimes that can be the easiest way of just sort of breaking that bad feeling, if you're really struggling. Something happened to me this week, and I was kind of wandering around, walking, feeling a bit sorry for myself because I couldn't run, and I went to the coffee shop, and I don't know why, but the app wouldn't work on my phone, so I was in a bit of a predicament to pay. I had cash actually, and I couldn't do that. And I walked out, I asked if I could leave the shop to try and look up through the internet. The internet wouldn't work properly. And the lady behind me actually paid for the coffee and brought it out. And I thought, what an amazing gesture. And someone said to me, that's something you probably do. And it is. And the reason, this is a big thing in America, buying the person behind you or in front of you a coffee. I think it's something they try to encourage quite a lot, because it makes you feel good if you do make that kind gesture. Of course I offered to pay the lady, and she wouldn't take it, and I couldn't thank her enough, and you feel quite humbled by that situation. But when you can do something to support, and that's why I kind of do all this. People question it quite a lot, people will question me, but I've got enough focus and determination and sort of broad shoulders to get over that. And it's just sometimes about doing whatever you actually can to get through it. I talk about that, helping someone else, it just picks you up, even if it's just a tiny bit, it's better than before. I talk about getting a drink of water, having a shower, just something, going out for 5 minutes for a walk, particularly in the rain, it can clear the head. So it's absolutely fantastic like that. And it's brilliant for sort of bringing you around when other things are getting to you, because if you just constantly think about that, you know what it's like. We've all been in situations. The first thing that springs to mind is kind of relationship breakups or jobs that you've not got, and you're upset, and you think about it, and you think about it, and you think about it, and somebody externally says something to you, and you snap at them, and you ruin that relationship, and and all these kind of things. And it's just a build-up, isn't it? What I've said, and I've said it all the way through today, is you almost need to take that little action just to make those small steps and start bringing you back round. I believe activity does that. That's why I've got a real passion to deliver the things I do. So yeah, my mental health has definitely been impacted, but I don't think in reality, I don't think it's been too much different to any other time, because it's always up and down. We're on a scale, aren't we, with it? I think you've got a real problem. We all know the kind of people who are really, really positive all the time. And you kind of know deep down that they've got deeper issues going on. And when they crack, they tend to crack big time. Or somebody that's really, really negative all the time, of course, it shows there's a real problem there. So it's just life, isn't it? To experience the ups and downs, the roller coaster of emotions. And I find in particular, probably I haven't started running considerably later than most. I wouldn't say I'm the oldest person to start running ever, but at 35 when I started, my body's not quite in tune with it. I started it because my body's wasn't quite prepared for it, and it lets me down sometimes. It's as simple as that. I have to accept that. And that's why I make a lot of the positive changes and encourage some of the things I do. So hopefully I kind of sort of got to the crux a little bit there with mental health. I didn't mean to go so deep, but I did. So hopefully it kind of told you what I meant. Again, thanks for the question, Mark. Really appreciate that. And Dawn asked me a question. Of course, we've been talking about this return to action next week. What are you most looking forward to about the in-person Do Running return next week? Well, I've already touched on it quite a lot, haven't I? Almost building up those relationships again, building up those communication levels. One thing I have hated, and I don't mind saying it, through COVID, through not being able to see people. It's got a purpose, but one thing I've hated is WhatsApp. So much can be sort of misconstrued through it, so much can be taken the wrong way. And when you don't see people to explain yourself, when people don't ask you the question in person, when people are hiding a little bit behind a keyboard, it's an awful tool. It's fantastic when you're just saying, I'll meet you here, or this is what we're going to do. It's brilliant. And it can be really positive when somebody's done something well. But it's an awful tool when you haven't got the human interaction as well. So having human interaction, is going to build up that communication. It's going to get everybody. You can explain if a question needs to be asked, or perhaps I might have said something wrong on DOdaily, or perhaps I might have said something wrong to this person or that person, or anybody who's getting involved. You can almost sort of explain yourself. Not that you have to, because you shouldn't have to if friends know sort of who you are and what you are, but it gives you that opportunity to have that real adult conversation, as well as enjoy something we absolutely love doing. The group next week, whilst I'm looking to encourage walking and other activities, of course it centres around running. That was my real passion. That's where Do Running and the whole thing sort of stemmed out of. So I'm really looking forward to getting into a place where people realise that this is what they love, this is what we do. Go out. We always say there's never a bad run. So what tends to happen is people come back into an environment and everyone's buzzing because they've done a run. Everyone's feeling fantastic about what they've done. And how can that be a bad thing? Add a couple of cheeky drinks in, a little bit of food or whatever, if people choose to do that, of course. But it gives people that opportunity to come together. It also allows people to meet new people. All the people that come to this group, even Kay, even Dawn, who's asking the question, who's a real big friend now, I've met them through this group. And that's fantastic, isn't it? People really underestimate what it's like to get to know someone new. It might be nerve-wracking at times. It might be difficult for some, but it's fantastic getting to know people, building relationships, learning how different people do different things, taking inspiration from them. I've encouraged it through online resources, through different sort of activities and challenges. But when you can take it there and then from the person, or that person can say something to put you up here feeling fantastic, that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? These groups, whilst I don't want to go too in depth about the groups today because we spoke about it a lot, but these groups are amazing for that. And I ask people to leave all the negativity at the door. Whilst, of course, I will look to support anybody that needs it. And a lot of us do attend these groups. I won't sugarcoat it. We attend them because there's a bit of an issue. We find ourselves in a place that we don't particularly want to be in life, but we leave that negativity at the door. I will support that. People around them will support that when they get to know them, but we don't come in and sort of be miserable about what we're doing. We leave all that outside. If you want to be part of it, be part of it. It's fantastic. Like I say, how can you not be inspired by people achieving around you, by yourself achieving? And when you put all that in one room, which we've not had for the last 14 months, it's a bit like a volcano. It's a bit like an explosion. It's just like all of a sudden everyone's looking around thinking, this is amazing. And that's the spirit we generated before COVID and sort of through the groups there. 1 or 2 changes. What I will say about the groups coming back, and I think this is important to say, this is not plugging a gap. A return to action shouldn't be, this is what we always did. It should be a way of using it to keep progressing, keep taking yourself forward, not necessarily in terms of the running and how quick you can go and how many miles you do, but progress as a person, understand, accept what others are all about. I like to think that Do Running is out there for absolutely anybody. I try and dismantle all the perceived barriers, whether it's cost or obligation or people can't do it because of this, that or the other. I'll do whatever I can to invite people in to join us. Even setting up the running club with a guy at the bar there, and the group. It was one of my sort of insistences that people do not have to do anything when they come into the bar. They don't even have to buy a drink, and that there is things to purchase. Of course, we have kit, we have different things which can make you feel even more part of it. But again, it might not be for everyone. And it just, it's just about doing what works for you, and that's what's most important. When you see people enjoying what works for them, there's nothing quite like it. If you see somebody sort of looking at the watch, I'm a bit of a people watcher, especially in this group environment. And then you go up to them and say, good run. And they go, oh, I knocked a minute off, or brilliant one today. I've never ran that far. You can't, if you could bottle that and keep it, and open it up when you were feeling rubbish, you'd never feel rubbish. We would all be positive. But that's kind of what I take from it. And that's what I'm looking forward to, just watching people achieve again. That's such a fantastic feeling, and feeling like we're able to support in a small way in what people are doing. Of course, the reason it's on a Wednesday is to break the week up, to give people some distraction or some extra focus to keep going, and give it a real go. I've mentioned that all the way throughout the pandemic and the Wednesday workout, so the purpose of having that group for the last 4 years has been to do that, and it's just that place where people can use it as a release and perhaps go home with a smile on the face. And that's what I really want. That's all I want to achieve from it. It doesn't matter. Some of the other things are superficial and not that important, but if we can get that, it's absolutely fantastic in showing a degree of success. And that's what I'm most looking forward to. Moving on. Well, again, thanks for the question, Dawn. Once again, thank you for all the questions. Really enjoy that. Really enjoy getting stuck into them. I'd give it no thought today. I just thought I'm going to answer these the best way I can, give it a real go. And hopefully I've sort of passed on the way I feel about certain situations. If you've got anything to add, please post them in. I'll be encouraging it throughout the week. Really love getting your questions, guys. It just gives me something different to think about. It gives you the chance to put your name to something and be part of the episode. If you really want to get involved, like the guys last night, just drop me a message. I'm happy to sort of bring you in if there's a burning issue. Whilst I try to be positive all the time, I said they'd into that. Sometimes we have to address these negative situations to sort of understand more and be better within ourselves. So I'm definitely open to open dialogue, and having that conversation. I'm not sort of afraid to say what I think and let people know. Hopefully it all comes across well, and it's all relatable into what people are doing on a day-on-day basis. Of course, I always like to finish with a throwback question. So what does the return of group activity mean to you? Not just do running, wherever you're doing it, whatever you're doing. If you've had a chance to sort of meet up with friends and meet up with larger groups, please let me know how it's worked. Tell us where you do it, tell us the group and how fantastic it is. I'd love to share some of that. Again, it's all about choice. One thing I will say about do running in particular, we're definitely not sort of exclusive. I encourage our members to run at different places or go to different groups if that's going to suit them more. All I want is people to get the most from what we do. I welcome people from other groups. They can do both, they can do either. It's completely up to them. So if you sort of take part elsewhere, but you wouldn't mind answering that question, please drop us a line. I'd love to read them out, because again, it just gives people options and perhaps just makes them think about how they can approach it a little bit better. And that's all it's about, isn't it? Of course, check out all the social media. The links are going across the bottom. Really sort of love what I've been doing over the last 14 months. And whilst I am sort of really looking forward to the groups coming back, it's not going to change anything. It's about moving forward, isn't it? It's not about going back. Never go back, because that's not the point. It's about just doing it and moving forward. So keep getting involved in all the sessions. Like I say, I'll be out in the morning for Wake Up to Walk, picking up at Burnstump Park, going off into the unknown now, proper Robin Hood country. I should definitely find him this week, or at least some reference. So I'll be on that trail, about 30 miles in. Not quite sure how far I'm going to go. Hopefully the weather's a little bit better than it is at the moment. Otherwise, it might be a wet and muddy trek. But regardless, I'll just be glad to get out there, use a bit of time in the morning to reflect, even more so on this busy week, and to look forward to the weekend and a couple of days away, and plan how I'm going to do that, and plan how I'm going to really attack next week and these groups coming back. So thanks for watching, guys. Please like, share and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I will just say I've just been sort of trying to sell DOdaily to somebody. I was having a drink at the boot room, having a little chat with someone, and they said to me, I thought YouTube was for young people. That made me feel absolutely fantastic, didn't it? But they promised to watch, so hopefully they get the chance. And whoever's watching, whoever you can, please like and share it. I'm just trying my best. I know I'm not particularly articulate, but I'm living it like everybody else is, experiencing the ups and downs and the difficulties of what COVID, the tricky weather, injury, mental health, all those things that get thrown at us day in, day out. So until tomorrow and that early session, just doing it. Got it right this week.